fear with courage, and negativity with positive action. Start by recognizing the negative thoughts that come into your mind. When they show up, challenge them. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me? If not, get rid of it. Replace it with something that pushes you forward. The more you do this, the more you'll train your mind to focus on what's possible, not on what's holding you back. If you want to make the most of the next 6 months, you need to cut off everything that's weighing you down. You've got to get rid of the things that are holding you back, whether it's people, habits, environments, or mindsets. Anything that is keeping you from becoming the best version of yourself has to go. It's not easy, but it's necessary. When you remove the things that drain you, when you stop giving your time and energy to things that don't serve you, you make room for the life you truly want. You start to attract the people, the opportunities, and the results that align with your goals. And that's when real progress happens. It might be tough at first. You might feel like you're losing something important. But trust me, what you gain on the other side of this is far greater. A life of purpose, of direction, of clarity. A life where you're in control, where you're not being held back by anything or anyone. A life where you're free to chase your dreams and make them a reality. This is your time. Don't waste it holding on to things that aren't serving you. Cut them off and make space for what truly matters. Number 3, wake up early and dominate your morning every day. The morning sets the tone for your entire day. It's the first thing you can control. And if you want to transform your life, you need to own that first part of the day. The simple act of waking up early, taking control of your morning, and starting the day with purpose can dramatically shift your mindset and propel you toward success. But there's more to it than just waking up early. It's about how you wake up and what you do with those first moments. When you wake up early, you give yourself a head start. The world is still quiet, still calm, and it's in those moments that you can do your best thinking. You can plan, you can focus. You can get a jump on your goals before the distractions of the day begin. Most people sleep in, rushing through their mornings, barely getting enough time to take a breath. And then by the time they're fully awake, they're already behind. They're reacting to life instead of taking control. That's a big reason why they feel stressed, overwhelmed, and constantly playing catch up. But when you make a habit of waking up early, you're setting yourself apart. You're giving yourself a window of time where you can do the things that matter most to you, without distractions, without interruptions. Imagine how powerful it would feel to get up before everyone else, to be awake when the world is still asleep, and to know that you're already ahead of the game. You're setting the tone for success, one morning at a time. Now, waking up early isn't just about the time on the clock. It's about what you do once you're up. Waking up early means creating a morning routine that primes you for success. It means having a set of habits that empower you, that charge you up, and set you on the path to accomplish your goals. It's about starting your day with intention. The first thing you do when you wake up matters. How you begin the day is how the rest of it will unfold. So what do you do when that alarm goes off? Do you hit the snooze button and drag yourself out of bed? Or do you jump up with energy, ready to conquer the day? One of the best ways to dominate your morning is to get moving as soon as you wake up. Don't wait for your body to catch up. Don't give yourself time to talk yourself out of getting up. As soon as your eyes open, get out of bed. Stretch. Move. Do something physical. It doesn't have to be an intense workout right away, but do something to activate your body. Whether it's a few stretches, a short walk, or even just standing tall and taking a few deep breaths, get your blood flowing. That will wake you up faster than anything else. Once you've moved your body, the next step is to feed your mind. The morning is the perfect time to set a positive tone for the day ahead. This could mean reading something inspiring or motivating, something that fills your mind with energy and purpose. Whether it's a few pages of a book, a powerful quote, or listening to an audio clip that inspires you, make it a habit to feed your mind with something that pushes you forward. Don't let the first moments of your day be consumed with worry or stress. Start with something uplifting that reminds you of your potential, your purpose, and your power. After you've set your mind on the right track, it's time to plan. The most successful people know that the key to getting ahead is having a clear plan of action. Take a few minutes to set your goals for the day. What do you need to accomplish? What are your top priorities? Write them down. Be clear and specific. This doesn't have to take a lot of time, but it's crucial that you have a roadmap for the day. When you start the day with a plan, you're more likely to stay focused, make better decisions, and avoid getting distracted by the endless demands that life will throw your way. And don't underestimate the power of a positive affirmation. When you wake up early, tell yourself something powerful, something motivating. Speak it out loud if you can. Something like, I'm in control of my day, or today is another opportunity to move closer to my goals. You are shaping your mindset. You are setting the tone for the day with your words. The more you speak these affirmations, the more they'll become your reality. Now, it's important to note that waking up early isn't just about productivity or hustle. It's about creating the right energy for your life. It's about aligning your mind, body, and spirit with the kind of person you want to become. If you're waking up early just to check off tasks and run through a list, then you're missing the point. Your morning routine should energize you. It should make you excited to take on the day, not drain you. That's why it's important to have something in your morning routine that makes you feel good. Something that brings you peace or joy. It could be a quiet cup of coffee, some time to reflect or meditate, or even just sitting by a window and watching the world wake up. Give yourself a moment of calm, a moment of peace before the rush of the day begins. This will help you stay centered, focused, and ready for whatever comes your way. In addition to all this, be sure to take care of your body in the morning. This is the one part of the day where you have the opportunity to give your body the care and attention it deserves. Eat a healthy breakfast, drink water, nourish yourself. Don't skip this step. The way you fuel your body in the morning has a huge impact on how you feel throughout the day. Avoid sugary foods or anything that will leave you feeling sluggish. Instead, focus on foods that will provide you with lasting energy and clarity. The bottom line is this. Waking up early isn't just a way to get more done. It's a way to set yourself up for success, to take control of your day, and to establish the habits that will propel you toward your goals. It's about waking up with purpose, with energy, and with a clear plan for the day. It's about getting ahead of the world before the world gets a chance to pull you in a million directions. If you want to transform your life in 6 months, you have to take full control of your mornings. You can't wait for life to happen to you. You have to make it happen. And that starts when the sun comes up. When you wake up early, you're not just adding hours to your day. You're adding power to your life. Number 4, create a strict plan with no room for guessing. When it comes to achieving success, one of the most important things you can do is to create a plan. Not just any plan, but a strict plan that leaves no room for guessing. Too many people wander through life without a clear direction, reacting to whatever comes their way instead of proactively shaping their future. They wake up, go through the motions, and hope that things will work out. But hope is not a strategy. A plan is what takes you from where you are now to where you want to be. Without a strict plan, you are walking through life blindly. You might have good intentions, but without a clear, actionable path, those intentions won't get you very far. Success doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of intentional action. It's the result of doing the right things at the right time with a clear understanding of where you're headed. When you create a strict plan, you remove all the uncertainty. You take the guesswork out of the equation. You know exactly what you need to do and when you need to do it. This is how you stay focused. This is how you make progress, no matter how big or small. Without a plan, you're just spinning your wheels, wasting time, and losing momentum. But with a clear and strict plan, you gain control over your time, your energy, and your efforts. The first thing you need to do when creating your plan is to be very specific about what you want to achieve. The more specific you can be, the better. Success doesn't come from vague goals like, I want to be successful, or I want to lose weight. Those are nice ideas, but they don't provide any direction. You need to define exactly what success looks like for you. How much money do you want to make? How much weight do you want to lose? What does your ideal life look like in 6 months, 1 year, or 5 years? When you have a clear vision of your goals, it's much easier to break them down into smaller, actionable steps. These steps become your roadmap. Each step is a building block that takes you closer to your goal. When you don't know exactly what you need to do next, you waste time guessing, and that time could be better spent taking action. A strict plan eliminates the guessing game and ensures that every action you take is purposeful and aligned with your ultimate goal. Once you've defined your goals, the next step is to break them down into manageable tasks. These tasks should be broken down by day, week, and month. You need to know exactly what you should be doing every single day to move closer to your goals. Each day should have a clear set of priorities, and these priorities should be in line with your long-term vision. By focusing on one task at a time, you can avoid feeling overwhelmed and scattered. When you know exactly what needs to be done, it's easier to stay focused and avoid distractions. Now, a strict plan isn't just about creating a list of things to do. It's about creating a schedule that holds you accountable. Time management is crucial to success. Without a strict schedule, it's easy to let the days slip away without making any real progress. You have to structure your day in a way that ensures you're using your time wisely. This means setting aside time for work, for rest, and for the things that matter most to you. Your plan should include dedicated time blocks for your most important tasks. For example, if you want to build a business, you might dedicate a few hours each morning to writing, planning, or working on your business strategy. If you want to get fit, you might block out time each day for exercise and meal prep. These time blocks should be non-negotiable. This is where discipline comes in. You must commit to your schedule, even when you don't feel like it. If you're serious about achieving your goals, you must make your plan a priority. Having a strict plan also means eliminating distractions. The world is full of distractions. Social media, email, phone calls, and other people's demands on your time. But distractions are the enemy of progress. When you're working toward your goals, you need to be fully present and focused. This means setting boundaries and protecting your time. You might need to turn off your phone, shut down your email, or block off specific times when you're not available to others. Your time is precious and you need to guard it fiercely. When you're focused on the tasks that matter most, you're making progress, and that progress adds up over time. As you follow your plan, it's important to track your progress. Regularly assess where you are in relation to your goals. Are you staying on track? Are you completing the tasks you set out to do? Tracking your progress allows you to make adjustments as needed. If something isn't working, you can tweak your plan and try a different approach. If you're ahead of schedule, you can adjust your tasks and push yourself further. But if you're falling behind, you can identify the areas where you need to improve and get back on track. The key is to regularly evaluate your progress and take corrective action when necessary. Your strict plan should also include a commitment to continuous improvement. Success is not a one-time event. It's a journey. And on that journey, you must be willing to learn, grow, and improve. This means consistently challenging yourself, picking up new skills, and stepping outside of your comfort zone. The most successful people are those who never stop learning. They understand that growth is a lifelong process, and they commit to improving themselves every day. Now, there will be times when things don't go according to plan. You will face setbacks, obstacles, and challenges. That's part of the process. But the difference between those who succeed and those who don't is how they handle those challenges. When you have a strict plan, you're better equipped to handle adversity. You'll have the clarity to make adjustments and the determination to keep going. You won't be thrown off course by a single setback. Instead, you'll keep moving forward with purpose and focus. A strict plan also means saying no to things that don't align with your goals. There will always be opportunities, distractions, and requests for your time, but not everything is worth your attention. The key to success is knowing what to say yes to and what to say no to. If something doesn't move you closer to your goal, don't waste your time on it. Be selective with how you spend your energy, and make sure it's focused on the things that will help you achieve your vision. Lastly, don't underestimate the power of consistency. A strict plan is only effective if you follow it consistently. It's the daily habits, the small actions, and the disciplined effort that will bring you results. You may not see massive progress right away, but over time, those small efforts will compound, and you'll see the transformation you've been working for. Stay consistent, stay focused, and keep pushing forward. A strict plan is your roadmap to success. It eliminates the guesswork, it holds you accountable, and it gives you the clarity and direction you need to achieve your goals. When you follow it with discipline, consistency, and a commitment to improvement, there is nothing that can stop you from reaching the life you've always dreamed of. Number 5, start each day with brutal honesty about your actions. Every single day is an opportunity, a fresh start. But what happens most of the time is that people go through the motions without ever really looking at themselves, at what they're doing, and whether it's moving them closer to their goals. People wake up and take the same actions as the day before, expecting different results. They make excuses, they let fear hold them back, they procrastinate. But here's the thing. If you want to make a real change in your life, you need to be brutally honest with yourself about your actions. This isn't about being harsh or overly critical. It's about being real. It's about cutting through all the fluff and taking an honest look at what you've done, what you're doing, and what you need to do to get to where you want to be. Starting each day with brutal honesty is the key to unlocking true growth and progress. It's about making sure that you're not wasting your time on things that don't matter, that you're not lying to yourself about how much effort you're really putting in, and that you're taking full responsibility for the choices you're making. Every day is a chance to take stock of your actions. Think about it. How many days do you spend thinking you're doing enough, only to realize at the end of the week that you've been spinning your wheels? It's easy to deceive yourself. It's easy to convince yourself that you're doing everything you can. But deep down, you know whether or not you're giving it your all. You know when you're making excuses. You know when you're avoiding the hard work. And if you want to make progress, you have to stop lying to yourself. Honesty, real honesty, is a game changer. It cuts through the noise. It eliminates the excuses. When you start your day by looking at your actions through the lens of brutal honesty, you begin to see things clearly. You realize where you've been wasting time, where you've been underperforming, and where you need to adjust your approach. This level of self-awareness is the foundation for any meaningful change. It's easy to go through life telling yourself that you'll do it later, that you'll get to it tomorrow. But here's the truth. Tomorrow never comes. Today is the day. Right now, you have the power to make a decision. When you wake up and face the day, take a hard look at what you did yesterday and ask yourself, did my actions move me closer to my goals? Don't sugarcoat it. Don't give yourself a pass. If you slacked off, admit it. If you procrastinated, admit it. If you were lazy, own up to it. Being honest with yourself means that you stop making excuses. It means you stop blaming others for your situation. You stop pointing fingers at your circumstances, your past, your environment, or anyone else. The only person who can change your life is you. And you can only do that when you're honest about what you're doing or not doing to move forward. You can't expect different results if you're not willing to change your actions. Let's take a look at this a little deeper. When you're brutally honest with yourself, you take control. You stop playing the victim. You stop complaining about your problems and start finding solutions. You realize that your actions are the direct result of your circumstances. If you want a better life, you have to start making better choices. And those choices start with how you spend your time. This level of honesty isn't easy. It's not comfortable, but it's necessary. It's necessary because the more you lie to yourself, the more you waste your potential. Every excuse you make is another opportunity lost. Every time you put off the hard work, you're moving further away from your goals. And every time you let yourself off the hook, you're not building the character it takes to succeed. You have to be honest with yourself about where you're falling short, about where you're not putting in the effort, and about where you're letting your fears hold you back. Now, it's important to note that being honest with yourself isn't just about pointing out where you failed. It's about taking ownership of your actions, both good and bad. If you've made progress, if you've been consistent, If you've worked hard, then give yourself credit for that. Recognize when you're doing the right things. Celebrate your wins, no matter how small they might seem. But also, don't let yourself off the hook when you're slacking. The key to this honesty is balance. It's about being real, but it's also about staying motivated to improve and do better every day. When you start each day with brutal honesty, you take responsibility for your actions. You stop making excuses and start making decisions. You're no longer waiting for someone else to change your life for you. You take charge. You make the choice to be better, to be more disciplined, and to put in the work. And when you do that, you begin to see real change. Small, consistent changes will lead to massive results over time. One of the best ways to practice brutal honesty is to ask yourself questions every morning that make you reflect on your actions. Ask yourself things like, what did I do yesterday to move toward my goals? Where did I fall short? What could I have done better? These questions force you to confront the truth. They force you to look at your actions, your decisions, and your habits. And once you have that clarity, you can make the necessary adjustments and start moving forward with purpose. Another powerful tool is journaling. Writing down your thoughts and feelings can help you process your actions and identify patterns. If you're honest with yourself in your journal, you can get a deeper understanding of your habits, your mindset, and what's holding you back. When you write down your thoughts, you're able to see them more clearly. You can pinpoint areas where you need to improve and areas where you're making progress. This kind of self-reflection is invaluable when it comes to growth. Let's be clear, being brutally honest isn't about beating yourself up. It's not about being overly critical or negative. It's about being objective. It's about understanding that the path to success requires constant self-evaluation. It requires you to face the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. When you do this, you give yourself the best chance to succeed. You give yourself the tools to make better decisions and take more intentional actions. But the key is to start your day with this level of honesty. Don't wait until the end of the day to reflect on your actions. Don't wait until the end of the week. Start each day with a commitment to being real with yourself. Ask the tough questions, reflect on your actions, and then get to work. Make today count. Make every single day count. When you hold yourself accountable every day, when you start your day with brutal honesty, you'll begin to see the kind of growth and progress that will change your life. Number 6, cut out all toxic people who waste your time. One of the most powerful things you can do for your life and your future is to take a hard look at the people around you. You have to ask yourself, are these people lifting me up or are they dragging me down? Are they helping me grow or are they wasting my time? Because here's the thing, toxic people have the power to steal your time, your energy, and your focus. They can keep you stuck in the same place, preventing you from making the progress you deserve. And the sad truth is, they often don't even realize the damage they're causing. These people can be family members, friends, co-workers, or even acquaintances. They might not always be overtly negative, but they can still drain your energy with their constant complaints, gossip, and negativity. They can put you down, make you question yourself, or simply waste your time with unimportant conversations and distractions. And every minute you spend around them is a minute that you're not moving toward your goals. It's a minute wasted. What happens when you allow toxic people into your life is that their negativity begins to seep into your own mindset. You start to believe that you're not good enough, that success is too hard, or that your dreams are unrealistic. Their energy becomes contagious, and before you know it, you start adopting their limited beliefs and attitudes. And it's not just about the words they say, it's the energy they bring into your life. Their pessimism, their lack of ambition, their excuses, they all rub off on you. And before long, you find yourself stuck in a rut, making little to no progress toward the life you want. The truth is, toxic people are not going to change just because you want them to. In fact, they may actively resist change because they are comfortable in their negativity. They may criticize your goals, tell you that you're dreaming too big, or make you feel like your efforts are pointless. They may drain your motivation and your passion, leaving you feeling exhausted and discouraged. These people don't help you grow. They hinder your progress. And when you're trying to build something great in your life, you cannot afford to waste time on people who are holding you back. It's important to recognize that toxic people are not necessarily bad people. They may not mean to hurt you. They may have their own struggles, frustrations, and limitations that they're working through. But that doesn't mean you have to allow their toxic energy into your life. You are not responsible for fixing them, and you are not responsible for their happiness. The only person you are responsible for is yourself. And if someone's presence in your life is preventing you from growing, it's time to make a change. The first step in cutting out toxic people is to identify them. Sometimes this is obvious. You know when someone is constantly negative, complaining about their circumstances, or making you feel small. But sometimes it's harder to spot. Some toxic people can be more subtle. They might be the ones who waste your time with pointless conversations, distract you from your goals, or keep you from focusing on what matters most. It's important to be aware of these people. Even if they're not outwardly toxic, they can still have a significant impact on your progress. Once you've identified the toxic people in your life, it's time to take action. This doesn't mean that you need to cut them out entirely, but you do need to set clear boundaries. You need to protect your time, your energy, and your focus. If someone is consistently draining you, it's time to limit your interaction with them. You don't need to be rude or confrontational, but you do need to be firm. Politely distance yourself from these people. If they try to bring negativity into your life, let them know that you're not interested in engaging in those conversations. Don't feel guilty for setting boundaries. You're doing this for your own well-being and for your own future. In some cases, cutting ties completely might be necessary. If someone in your life is consistently toxic and refuses to respect your boundaries, it may be time to let them go. This can be difficult, especially if it's a close friend or family member. But sometimes it's the best thing you can do for your own growth. You cannot afford to allow people who bring you down to continue to have a place in your life. Your goals are too important, your time is too valuable, and your future is too bright to let anyone waste it. When you cut out toxic people, you make room for the people who will lift you up, support you, and encourage you to grow. Surrounding yourself with positive, motivated people who are striving for their own success will help you stay focused and inspired. These people will hold you accountable, challenge you to be better, and push you to reach your full potential. They will help you stay on track when things get tough, and they will celebrate your wins with you. This is the kind of energy you want in your life. It's also important to recognize that sometimes we are our own toxic influences. We can be our own worst enemies, sabotaging ourselves with self-doubt, procrastination, or a lack of discipline. If you're spending your time on things that don't serve your goals, whether that's mindlessly scrolling through social media, binge watching shows, or getting caught up in drama, you are wasting your own time. And when you cut out toxic people, you have to also commit to cutting out the toxic habits and behaviors that are holding you back. Take a hard look at how you're spending your time and ask yourself if it's really moving you closer to your goals. Are your daily actions aligned with your dreams, or are you allowing distractions and self-sabotage to keep you stuck? In order to move forward, you have to take full responsibility for how you spend your time and energy. This means being mindful of who you spend time with and being willing to let go of people or habits that no longer serve you. It's about making a commitment to surround yourself with people who bring out the best in you. People who are positive, motivated, and focused on their own growth. These are the people who will help you reach your full potential. Cutting out toxic people is not just about protecting yourself from negativity. It's about making space for the good, for the positive influences, for the people who will push you to be better. When you remove the people who waste your time and drain your energy, you make room for the people who will help you build the life you've always wanted. You make room for the people who will help you stay focused on your goals and who will support you every step of the way. Your time is one of the most precious resources you have. Don't waste it on people who don't value it. Don't waste it on people who are holding you back, draining your energy, or distracting you from what matters most. Surround yourself with people who encourage you to be your best, who inspire you to take action, and who believe in your potential. When you do this, you will begin to see the kind of success and growth that will transform your life. Number 7, work on your main goal for 3 hours daily. There's a simple truth that you need to accept if you want to achieve anything worthwhile in life. Success doesn't come from occasional bursts of effort. It doesn't come from having big dreams and hoping that the universe will align to make them happen. It doesn't even come from simply setting goals. No, success comes from focused, consistent work. If you want to transform your life, you have to dedicate time every single day to working on your main goal. And I'm talking about real, uninterrupted work 3 solid hours each day. 3 hours may seem like a lot of time, but it's really not when you think about what it takes to accomplish something significant. The world's most successful people didn't get where they are by doing a little bit here and there, or by fitting in their work around everything else. They carved out time in their day, every day, where they could focus solely on what mattered most. This is how you make progress. You have to give yourself the space to dive deep into your work, without distractions, without hesitation, and without excuses. The first thing to understand is the power of focus. When you work on your goal for 3 hours each day, you're not just putting in time, you're putting in focused, uninterrupted effort. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Phones, social media, emails, people knocking at your door, things to check, things to respond to. The distractions are endless, but when you dedicate a solid block of time to your main goal, you remove those distractions. You tell yourself that for these 3 hours, nothing else matters but this one thing. You can't afford to let anything or anyone take your focus away from what you're building. Working for 3 hours doesn't just mean sitting down for 3 hours and looking at your work. It means being intentional with every minute of those 3 hours. You're not wasting time. You're not procrastinating. You're taking deliberate action, making decisions, solving problems, and pushing your work forward. This kind of focused work is what leads to real results. It's what separates the dreamers from the doers. And it's what creates lasting progress toward your goals. Now let's talk about what happens when you commit to working 3 hours every day. First, you develop a habit. It's easy to get distracted, to get sidetracked by other things that feel urgent, or to put off the work because it feels overwhelming. But when you make the decision to show up every single day for 3 hours, you're creating a discipline that keeps you on track. It becomes part of your routine. It becomes something you do automatically, just like brushing your teeth or getting dressed. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. And that's when you start seeing results. Because when you consistently work on your goal for 3 hours each day, you build momentum. And momentum is powerful. One of the hardest things to overcome when working toward a goal is getting started. But once you've committed to that 3-hour block, the work gets easier as you go. You get into a flow state. You start making connections between ideas, solving problems more effectively, and pushing through challenges. You don't overthink it. You just keep working, keep moving, and keep improving. This momentum builds on itself. And before you know it, you're making more progress in a few weeks than you would have in months of scattered work. 3 hours a day is enough time to make significant progress in any area of your life. Whether your goal is to build a business, write a book, learn a new skill, or improve your health, 3 hours a day is enough to move you closer to where you want to be. It's about quality, not just quantity. You don't need to work for 10 hours a day to make things happen. You just need to work effectively for 3 hours. And the beauty of this is that once you make 3 hours a non-negotiable part of your day, you'll start seeing results faster than you ever thought possible. But I know what some of you are thinking. I'm too busy. I don't have 3 hours to spare. I get it. Life gets busy. There are a million things to do. And it's easy to feel like you don't have the time to focus on what matters most. But here's the thing. If you don't make time for your goals, you'll never make progress. The truth is, you have the time, you just have to prioritize it. Look at your schedule and ask yourself, what are you doing with your time? How much of it is being spent on things that don't move you forward? How many hours are you wasting on things that don't serve your bigger purpose? When you start treating your 3 hours of focused work as non-negotiable, you'll find the time. You'll realize that you're spending time on things that don't matter. You'll see the gaps in your schedule where you can carve out 3 hours to work on your goal. It might mean waking up earlier, cutting out distractions, or eliminating less important activities. But the time is there if you're willing to make it a priority. The key to making this work is consistency. You don't need to be perfect every day, but you do need to show up every day. Even when you don't feel like it, even when it's hard, even when you'd rather do something else. Because that's what separates the people who achieve their goals from the people who don't. The people who succeed are the ones who keep showing up day after day, putting in the work, making progress, and pushing forward. Another important aspect of this commitment is that it forces you to get serious about your goals. When you dedicate 3 hours a day to something, you start treating it like a serious business. You stop making excuses. You stop thinking of your goal as something that's nice to have and start treating it like it's essential. Because it is. The only way to make real progress is to dedicate time to it. And the more time you dedicate, the more serious and committed you'll become. That commitment will be reflected in your actions, and it will lead to success. There's no magic formula to success. There's no shortcut. But if you want to achieve anything worth having, you have to put in the work. And if you commit to working on your main goal for 3 hours every day, you'll start seeing the results. The key is to make that time count. Don't let distractions, procrastination, or excuses stand in your way. Show up, put in the effort, and watch as you make steady, meaningful progress toward the life you want. Number 8, keep your phone off when doing deep focus work. Let's get one thing straight. In today's world, our phones are powerful tools, but they can also be our biggest distractions. Every ping, every vibration, every notification is designed to pull your attention away from what matters most. And that's the problem. When you're trying to do deep focused work, your phone is the enemy. It's time to take control of your focus, and that starts by keeping your phone off when you need to get things done. The truth is, the constant interruptions we get from our phones don't just break our concentration, they also destroy our ability to think deeply and work productively. You can't focus if you're checking your phone every few minutes. You can't produce your best work if you're constantly distracted by incoming texts, emails, and social media updates. And yet, so many people allow themselves to be at the mercy of their phones. They think they can multitask. But the reality is, you're not doing anything well when you're trying to do too many things at once. You're just spreading your energy and focus too thin. Think about it. How many times have you sat down to work only to pick up your phone and scroll through your notifications? It feels harmless at first, doesn't it? You think, just a quick check, and then I'll get back to work. But that quick check often turns into 10 minutes, then 30, then an hour. And by the time you get back to your work, you've lost your momentum. The deep focus you had is gone, replaced by a scattered, unfocused mind. This is how productivity is killed piece by piece over time. It's not the lack of effort. It's the lack of consistent, undistracted effort. Now, I'm not saying you need to be completely disconnected from the world, but when it comes to deep focus work, your phone is an enemy. You need to create an environment that fosters concentration. And the easiest way to do that is to simply turn your phone off. Put it in another room, lock it in a drawer, or leave it on silent. Do whatever you need to do to remove it from your immediate surroundings while you work. It's a simple but powerful step that will drastically improve the quality of your work. Here's why it works. When you eliminate distractions, your brain can give its full attention to the task at hand. Deep work requires undivided attention. The more you train yourself to focus without interruptions, the more productive you become. You get into a rhythm. You solve problems more efficiently. You think more clearly. And over time, you'll develop the mental stamina to focus for longer periods. But let's talk about the psychology behind it. Phones aren't just distractions, they're addictive. Every notification is a small hit of dopamine, the brain's feel-good chemical. It's a reward system that keeps you coming back for more. But here's the catch. Every time you check your phone, you're teaching your brain that distractions are more rewarding than the work you're supposed to be doing. You're training your brain to crave instant gratification rather than delayed satisfaction. And this, my friend, is a huge obstacle to achieving anything meaningful. By keeping your phone off during deep work, you're essentially retraining your brain to resist distractions and focus on long-term rewards. You're telling yourself that the work you're doing is more important than any immediate pleasure a phone notification can offer. It's a small decision with big consequences. The more you practice this, the more disciplined you become, and the easier it gets to stay focused. Let's take it a step further. Think about how much time you spend each day checking your phone. It adds up quickly, doesn't it? A few minutes here, a few minutes there, but that time is precious. When you're working on something important, every minute counts. Those minutes you spend checking your phone are minutes you'll never get back. And when you add it all up, that's hours of wasted time that could have been spent on productive work. Turning your phone off isn't just about eliminating distractions. It's about reclaiming your time. It's about protecting the hours you set aside for deep work. By keeping your phone off, you're taking control of your day. You're making a conscious decision to prioritize your goals, your work, and your future over fleeting distractions. And that's what successful people do. They protect their time, like it's the most valuable asset they have. Because in truth, it is. Here's another thing to consider. When you keep your phone off during deep work, you start to notice just how much of your day is consumed by mindless checking. It's easy to get caught in the habit of constantly looking at your phone, almost without thinking. But when it's not there, you realize how much time you waste. And when you see how much of your day is spent on distractions, it motivates you to make better choices. You start to understand that you don't need your phone to be productive. In fact, it's often the opposite. Your phone holds you back. And let's not forget the mental benefits. The constant barrage of notifications can cause stress and anxiety. You're always on alert, always waiting for the next ping. This stress reduces your ability to think clearly and work effectively. But when you remove your phone from the equation, you give yourself the mental space to think deeply. You allow yourself the freedom to focus on one thing at a time. And that's when your best work happens. That's when the breakthroughs come. There's also something powerful about taking control of your environment. By turning off your phone, you're creating a space where you can truly immerse yourself in your work. You're telling yourself that this time is sacred, that nothing else is more important than what you're doing in this moment. This kind of environment, one free of distractions, creates the perfect conditions for success. You begin to understand that the way you spend your time today shapes your tomorrow. And if you're serious about achieving your goals, you have to make the most of the time you have right now. It's not easy to disconnect from your phone. The habit is hard to break, but the benefits are well worth it. Your productivity, your focus, and your ability to do meaningful work will all improve. You'll feel more accomplished at the end of each day, knowing that you gave your full attention to the task at hand. If you truly want to dominate your work, make your phone a non-factor in your deep focus time. Keep it off, out of sight, and away from your workspace. You'll be amazed at how much more you can achieve when you stop letting distractions dictate your time. And once you make this a habit, your results will speak for themselves. Number 9, stop explaining your plan to lazy people now. You know who I'm talking about? The ones who always have an excuse. The ones who always want to talk about what you're doing but never seem to put in any effort themselves. These are the people who want to hear about your goals, but they never actually do anything to move their own lives forward. They're the ones who give you advice, but their own actions don't match their words. It's time to stop explaining your plan to them. It's time to stop wasting your energy trying to convince people who aren't interested in doing the work. Here's the thing. There are some people in your life who are just not going to understand your vision. They won't see your potential. They won't believe in your plan. And you know why? Because they don't believe in themselves. They're stuck in their own comfort zones, and they want to pull you down with them. They're not interested in growth. They're not interested in progress. They're only interested in making themselves feel better about staying where they are. And if you keep trying to explain yourself to them, you're just going to find yourself frustrated and drained. When you explain your goals and plans to people who don't have the drive, the ambition, or the desire to work for anything, you're not going to get the support you need. Instead, you're going to get criticism, doubt, and negativity. They'll point out all the reasons why it's too hard, too risky, too expensive. They'll tell you all the things that could go wrong, but none of the things that could go right. And after enough of that, you might start questioning yourself. You might start doubting your plan, your abilities, your dream. But listen carefully, their opinions don't matter. Their lack of action doesn't define your future. Their excuses aren't your responsibility. You've got a vision, a goal, and a plan to get there. That's what matters. The people who are too lazy or too fearful to take action can't help you get to where you're going. And explaining yourself to them is just a waste of time. You'll never convince them because they're not willing to put in the effort. And that's something you can't change. Instead of explaining your plan to lazy people, focus on the ones who are ready to listen, the ones who are also taking action in their own lives. These are the people who are going to support you. They're the ones who will challenge you, push you, and keep you accountable. They're the ones who will understand the journey you're on, because they're on their own journey too. These are the people who will celebrate your successes and help you overcome your setbacks. They'll be there when you need encouragement, and they'll hold you up when things get tough. They're not going to waste your time with negativity and excuses. But here's the thing. You can't let the lazy ones take up space in your life. You have to set boundaries. You have to protect your energy. If you keep trying to explain your plan to people who aren't willing to put in the work, you're allowing them to waste your time and drain your motivation. You're letting them steal your focus. And that's the most valuable thing you have. Your time and focus are limited resources, and you need to guard them fiercely. Don't get me wrong. It's not that you shouldn't have compassion for people who are struggling. It's not that you should turn your back on everyone who isn't as driven as you are. But there's a difference between offering help to someone who is genuinely trying to improve their life and constantly trying to convince someone who isn't willing to take responsibility for their own actions. You can't help people who don't want help. You can't drag someone across the finish line when they're not even willing to put one foot in front of the other. There's a saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This is so true. If you spend your time around lazy, negative, unmotivated people, that's going to rub off on you. You'll start to adopt their mindset, their habits, their excuses. You'll start to lower your standards to match theirs. But if you surround yourself with people who are driven, focused, and willing to work for what they want, you'll rise to their level. You'll be pushed to grow, to improve, and to do more than you ever thought possible. The reality is, you are the sum of the choices you make. And one of the biggest choices you can make is who you spend your time with. If you want to go to the next level in your life, you need to start choosing people who inspire you, who challenge you, who push you to be better. You need to stop wasting your time on people who are content with staying where they are. You might be thinking, but what if they're family or close friends? The truth is, it doesn't matter. You have to protect your own growth, even if it means stepping away from people who are holding you back. You can love them, you can care about them, but you can't let them stop you from achieving your dreams. Don't allow their complacency to become your limitation. Don't let their laziness take away your ambition. You have to get clear on what you want and who you want in your life. You have to stop explaining yourself to people who aren't going to understand. And you have to stop seeking validation from those who don't have the courage to chase their own goals. Your journey is yours alone. No one else is responsible for it but you. And you owe it to yourself to protect your time, your focus, and your energy. If you want to achieve great things, you have to stop explaining your plan to lazy people. You have to stop seeking approval from those who aren't willing to put in the effort. Instead, focus on the people who are already walking the walk, who are already striving for more. Those are the people who will lift you up and help you get to where you want to go. Don't waste another minute explaining yourself to those who aren't going anywhere. Keep your focus on the ones who are moving forward, and make sure your time is spent on the things that will bring you closer to your goals. Number 10, track your habits every single day without excuse. You've got dreams, you've got goals, and you're working hard toward them. But let me ask you this. Are you tracking your progress every day? Do you have a system in place that holds you accountable for the small actions that will ultimately lead to big results? Because without tracking your habits, your progress will be uncertain at best. And at worst, you'll find yourself wondering why things aren't moving as fast as you'd hoped. Tracking your habits is one of the most crucial things you can do if you want to transform your life. If you're serious about your success, you've got to track your actions daily, without exception. When you track your habits, you give yourself a powerful tool. You create a record of your consistency or lack thereof. You'll see exactly where you're spending your time, what you're doing each day, and how that aligns with the life you want to create. The beautiful thing about tracking is that it takes away the guesswork. You don't have to wonder whether or not you've been doing enough, because the data is right in front of you. You don't have to rely on vague feelings or intentions. You can see what's happening, and you can make adjustments accordingly. If you're not seeing the results you want, tracking your habits will show you exactly where you're slipping. You need to understand that tracking your habits is more than just writing things down or checking boxes. It's about commitment. It's about saying to yourself, I'm going to do this, no matter what, and I'm going to track it to make sure I stay on course. It's about taking full responsibility for your actions and holding yourself accountable. Because here's the truth. Success isn't about waiting for motivation to strike. It's not about waiting for the perfect conditions to appear. Success is about daily actions, repeated over time with consistency. And the only way you can make sure you're showing up every day is by tracking your habits. You need to track everything that matters. Track your workouts, your reading, your meditation, your time spent on your goals, your eating habits, your sleep. Track it all. Every small action you take will either move you closer to your goals or pull you away from them. By tracking, you can see exactly where you're doing well and where you're falling short. It's not enough to rely on your memory, because our minds can be deceiving. You might think you've been working hard, but if you're not tracking it, you're just guessing. And guess what? Guessing isn't going to get you where you want to go. The reason so many people fall short of their goals is because they aren't consistent enough. They're too focused on the big picture, and they neglect the small, everyday actions that lead to success. But it's those small actions, repeated every day, that add up to massive change. If you want to achieve something great, you need to be obsessed with the details. You need to care about what you do every single day. And the only way to know what you're doing is to track it. Tracking your habits isn't just about writing things down on a piece of paper or in an app. It's about taking an honest look at your life every day. You're not just tracking for the sake of tracking. You're tracking so that you can see if you're really doing the things that are going to get you closer to your goals. You're tracking to ensure that your daily habits are aligned with the person you want to become. If you're serious about transformation, you can't afford to skip this step. There are no excuses. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but Jim, life is busy. I don't have time to track everything. Let me tell you something. If you don't make time for tracking, you're making time for mediocrity. You're making time for excuses, for distractions, for things that won't get you closer to your goals. You've got to prioritize what matters. If you want to change your life, you have to make tracking your habits non-negotiable. It's like having a GPS for your success. If you want to reach your destination, you need to know where you're going and what road you're on. Without tracking, you're just driving blind. The beauty of tracking is that it makes your actions tangible. It makes them real. You can't lie to yourself when you're tracking your habits. It's right there in front of you. If you're not doing the things you said you'd do, you'll see it. If you're not staying consistent, you'll know. And once you have that awareness, you can make a choice. You can choose to keep going, or you can choose to make an adjustment. Tracking gives you the power to make those decisions in real time. It helps you stay accountable to yourself. And that's one of the most powerful things you can do. But here's the real key. It's not enough to just track your habits. You have to be honest about what you see. Tracking only works if you're honest with yourself. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't pretend like everything's fine when it's not. If you're not hitting your targets, acknowledge it. If you're falling behind, own up to it. Don't make excuses. Take responsibility. And then take action. Tracking your habits is a tool, but it only works if you use it with integrity. You've got to face the truth about where you are and what you're doing. If you can't be honest with yourself, you'll never make the progress you want. Tracking your habits also helps you see your progress. It's easy to get discouraged when you're working toward a big goal. You might not see instant results, and that can make you want to give up. But when you track your habits, you can see the small improvements you're making each day. Maybe your workouts are getting stronger. Maybe you're reading more. Maybe you're waking up earlier or eating better. These small wins add up over time. And when you track them, you can see that progress. And when you see progress, it fuels your motivation. It keeps you going, even on the tough days. But remember, this tracking your habits isn't about perfection. It's not about being flawless every day. It's about consistency. It's about showing up every single day, even when you don't feel like it. It's about doing the work, even when it's hard. You'll have days when you don't hit your targets. You'll have days when you slip up. That's normal, but the key is to get back on track the next day. To keep going, to keep pushing, and to keep tracking your habits without making excuses. If you're serious about transforming your life, you need to track your habits every day. No excuses, no shortcuts. Your habits are the foundation of your success, and tracking them is the only way to make sure you're building a solid foundation. Number 11, face your biggest fear by taking bold daily steps. Fear is one of the greatest obstacles standing between you and the life you want. It creeps into your mind when you think about what's possible for you, and it whispers all the reasons why you can't succeed. Fear tells you that you're not good enough, not smart enough, not strong enough. It convinces you to stay safe, to stay comfortable, to avoid taking risks. But here's the truth. If you're going to create the life you deserve, you have to face your fear. You have to stand up to it, look it straight in the eye, and take action anyway. Fear only has as much power over you as you give it. The moment you choose to take bold daily steps in the face of fear, you strip it of its control. The idea of facing your biggest fear might sound intimidating. You might think that it's too big, too overwhelming. But it's not about taking one giant leap. It's about taking small, deliberate, and bold steps each day that move you in the direction of overcoming it. You don't need to conquer your fear all at once. You need to confront it little by little, with courage and consistency. Every day you face your fear, you take back a little piece of power. Every time you choose action over hesitation, you chip away at the hold fear has on you. I know fear can feel like an insurmountable mountain. It can make you feel paralyzed, stuck in place, unsure of what the next step should be. But think about it this way. Fear only controls you as long as you let it. The moment you decide to act, despite the fear, you begin to weaken its grip. Every step you take, no matter how small, is a victory over the fear that once held you back. And you have the strength to make those steps every single day. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that we need to make huge, dramatic changes in our lives all at once. But let me tell you, true growth happens in the small, everyday actions. The key to facing your biggest fear is to take bold steps, even when you're afraid. Every time you step into the unknown, you build resilience. Every time you choose to move forward, even when your heart is racing, you prove to yourself that you're capable of handling whatever fear throws your way. Don't wait for the fear to go away before you take action. It won't. The fear will always be there, lurking in the background. But what you can do is build your capacity to act despite it. The more you take those bold steps, the more confident you'll become in your ability to handle what's on the other side. And the more you do it, the more your fear will start to shrink, because it will begin to realize that you're not backing down. The key is to get started and to keep moving, even when fear tells you to stop. Because each time you do this, you'll discover something powerful about yourself. You have to remember that fear isn't there to stop you. It's there to test you. It's a signal that you're on the right path. Think about it. If you're not feeling a little bit of fear, you're probably not growing. Fear is a natural part of the human experience, but it doesn't have to stop you. In fact, fear can become one of your greatest allies if you learn to use it as fuel for your actions. When fear arises, it means you're about to step into something new, something that will push you to grow. Embrace it, welcome it, use it as a sign that you're on the verge of something great. Taking bold steps means showing up every day, even when the fear is loud, even when it seems easier to turn back. It's about having the courage to keep going when things get tough, when the path ahead looks unclear, and when the fear seems overwhelming. But understand this, courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward in spite of fear. It's not about waiting for the fear to disappear. It's about deciding that you're going to move forward, no matter how afraid you feel. Each day you face your fear, you'll start to build momentum. You'll start to see that the more you push through the discomfort, the less power fear has over you. You'll realize that fear isn't something that needs to control you. It's simply something that needs to be managed. And the more you manage it, the more confident you'll become in your ability to face whatever challenges come your way. This is how you build real resilience. This is how you grow stronger, more capable, and more unstoppable every single day. I know that stepping into the unknown is uncomfortable. I know that taking bold steps when you're scared isn't easy. But you need to remember this. Your comfort zone is where dreams go to die. Nothing remarkable happens in the safety of your comfort zone. Nothing extraordinary is accomplished by playing it safe. If you want to create a life of meaning and purpose, you've got to step outside that comfort zone and face your fear head on. Imagine where you could be a month from now if you faced your fear every day. Imagine where you could be 6 months from now if you committed to taking bold steps, no matter how uncomfortable they feel. You'd be amazed at what's possible, but it won't happen unless you take those steps. Fear will always be there, but it's not stronger than your determination. It's not stronger than your desire to live a life of purpose, to achieve your dreams, and to become the person you know you're capable of becoming. If you want to transform your life, you have to be willing to face your biggest fears every single day. It's not going to be easy, but it will be worth it. With each step you take, you'll gain confidence, strength, and resilience. You'll realize that you can handle whatever comes your way, and the fear will no longer hold you back. It will become a distant memory as you continue moving forward boldly toward your dreams. Number 12. Push yourself when your mind screams to stop. There will come a moment, maybe even many moments, when your mind will tell you that enough is enough. It will scream at you, telling you to slow down, to take it easy, to rest. It will make all kinds of excuses, convince you that you've done enough for today, that you can afford to take a break, that the finish line is too far away. But I want you to understand something important. Those moments are not a sign that you should stop. They are a signal that you are on the edge of growth. Every time your mind tells you to quit, that's when you need to push harder, dig deeper, and push yourself to do what you didn't think was possible. Your mind is a powerful thing, but it's also limited by its own beliefs and comfort zones. It will tell you that you've reached your limit, but the truth is, your limit is much further than you realize. The mind tends to operate on a set of rules it has created based on past experiences, fears, and doubts. But those rules are not the truth. They're just the mind's way of trying to protect you from discomfort. The thing is, growth doesn't happen in comfort. Progress doesn't happen when you take the easy road. It happens when you push through the discomfort, when you ignore the voices in your head telling you to stop, and you take one more step, even when everything in you wants to quit. The key is to recognize that when your mind tells you to stop, you're actually at the brink of breakthrough. That's the moment when you need to make the decision to push forward. Your mind is not a reliable source of truth when it comes to your potential. It will always underestimate your capacity. It will always tell you that you can't go any further, that you've given enough, that you've worked hard enough. But you have more in you than you realize. You are capable of so much more than your mind allows you to believe. And in those moments, when you feel like stopping, that's when you have the greatest opportunity to prove to yourself that you can do it. You see, it's not about what your mind says. It's about what you decide to do in those critical moments. It's about choosing to listen to the deeper part of you, the part that knows what you're truly capable of. The mind will always try to keep you safe. It will always try to prevent you from pushing beyond what it knows. But you are not your mind. You are the person who gets to decide what you are capable of. You are the one who gets to choose to rise above the limits your mind imposes. When you push yourself in those moments, when you choose to ignore the voices of doubt and fear, you will unlock parts of yourself that you never knew existed. You will tap into strength, determination, and resilience that will carry you further than you ever thought possible. And here's the thing. When you push past those limits, when you break through that wall of resistance, something amazing happens. You realize that you didn't have a limit in the first place. The only limit that existed was the one in your mind. Once you push past it, you see how much further you can go, how much more you can achieve, and how much stronger you've become. The mind loves to set boundaries. It loves to tell you that there's only so much you can do, only so much you can handle. But when you push yourself, you prove that those boundaries are self-imposed. They're not real. They're just a product of your mind's desire to keep you comfortable, to keep you safe. And the truth is, comfort and safety are the enemies of growth. Comfort is where dreams go to die. Safety is where you settle for mediocrity. To grow, to achieve greatness, you must be willing to step outside of your comfort zone, to challenge those self-imposed limits, and to push yourself even when it feels impossible. You are capable of so much more than you give yourself credit for. Every time you push past the point where your mind screams at you to stop, you expand your capacity for what you can handle. You stretch the boundaries of what you thought was possible. You build strength, mental toughness, and a resilience that cannot be broken. The more you do this, the stronger you become. The more you push yourself, the more you see what you're truly made of. And when you keep pushing, even when your mind tells you to quit, you'll start to see results that once felt impossible. This is not an easy path. It's not meant to be. If it were easy, everyone would be doing it. But the people who succeed, the ones who achieve the highest levels of success, are the ones who push themselves when their mind screams to stop. They are the ones who keep going when the road gets tough, when the body aches, and when the mind wants to quit. They understand that it's not about how you feel in the moment. It's about what you're willing to do to reach your goals. Success is not about comfort. It's about doing what others won't do, pushing yourself when others would quit, and staying committed to your vision, no matter how difficult the journey may seem. I'm not telling you it's going to be easy. I'm not saying that it won't be hard. It will be hard. But every time you push through, you will be amazed at the strength and resilience you discover within yourself. Every time you keep going when you want to stop, you will become more of the person you need to be to achieve your dreams. And when you look back, you'll see that it wasn't the moments of ease that shaped you. It was the moments when you chose to push past the limits, when you chose to rise above the voices of doubt and fear. Those are the moments that make you stronger. Those are the moments that define who you become. So the next time your mind screams to stop, remember, that's your cue to keep going. That's your moment to break through the barrier, to defy the limits, and to prove to yourself just how much you're capable of. Push yourself when it hurts. Push yourself when you feel tired. Push yourself when you don't think you can take another step. Because on the other side of that pain, that struggle, and that discomfort is the success, strength, and growth you've been waiting for, and you are more than capable of achieving it. Number 13. Say no to anything that doesn't build your future. Every day you're faced with choices. Some are easy and some are difficult. But one of the most important things you'll ever learn is how to say no to things that don't serve you, things that don't move you closer to your goals, and things that don't build your future. Saying no is not about rejecting the world, nor is it about being selfish. It's about being wise and disciplined enough to understand that every moment, every choice, and every action you take either moves you closer to your future or takes you further away from it. When you say yes to something, you're not just saying yes to that one moment or task. You're saying yes to everything that comes with it, the time it takes, the energy it requires, the distractions it creates, and the opportunities it consumes. This is why you have to be mindful of what you say yes to. Every yes is a commitment. And when you make commitments that don't align with your vision, your future, or your purpose, you're wasting precious time that could be used for the things that matter. This isn't easy. We live in a world that demands so much of us. People will ask for your time, your energy, your help, and sometimes even your attention. But if you say yes to everything, you'll soon find that you've said no to the things that truly matter, the things that move you closer to the life you want to live. If you're constantly agreeing to things that don't align with your goals, you'll find yourself stuck, overwhelmed, and distracted. Your focus will be scattered, and your progress will be hindered by the unnecessary things that you've allowed into your life. One of the most powerful things you can do for your future is learn the strength of a simple yet powerful word: no. It's not about being rude or dismissive. It's about being intentional with your time, your energy, and your resources. You have to prioritize what matters and recognize that there's no room for anything that doesn't help you grow, move forward, or push you closer to your dreams. Every no is an affirmation of your commitment to your future. Every time you say no to something that doesn't build you up, you are saying yes to something that does. But you need to understand that saying no is not just about avoiding distractions. It's about avoiding things that drain you. Many people spend their time on activities that don't align with their bigger vision for their life. They waste hours on meaningless conversations, attend events that don't add value, or stay in situations that are holding them back. They let other people's priorities take up space in their lives, leaving little room for their own dreams. You are not here to please everyone. You are here to fulfill your own purpose. And that means that you have to be selective about where you invest your time, energy, and focus. You must be disciplined in saying no to things that don't bring you closer to where you want to go. This could mean saying no to unnecessary distractions, toxic relationships, negative influences, or even situations that may seem harmless, but ultimately don't contribute to your growth. At the core of this decision is self-respect. When you say no to things that don't align with your vision, you're showing yourself that you value your time, your purpose, and your future. You're choosing to protect the precious resource of your time and using it wisely. Saying no is not a rejection of others. It's an affirmation of yourself. It's a declaration that you are in control of your life and your choices. You are choosing to take the path that leads to your dreams, even if it means saying no to the things that others may want from you. This doesn't mean you should never help others or say yes to things that could help your community, your relationships, or your personal growth. But it does mean that you need to be mindful of where you invest your energy. Are you saying yes because you truly want to? Or are you saying yes out of guilt, fear, or a desire to please others? If it's not adding value to your life, it's taking up space that could be better used for something else. The things that matter most are the things that align with your goals, values, and vision for your life. And the only way to make room for those things is by learning the power of no. Imagine your life as a garden. Your time and energy are the seeds, and every task, every responsibility, every decision you make is either a flower that nourishes your growth or a weed that takes up space. If you allow every distraction, every negative influence, and every unimportant request to take root, your garden will become overrun with weeds. The flowers, the dreams, the goals, the progress will be crowded out, suffocated by all the things that don't matter. But when you say no, you're removing the weeds. You're creating space for the flowers to thrive. You're ensuring that your energy is focused on what will nurture your growth. Saying no allows you to tend to the things that truly matter. It's about cultivating a life where your time, energy, and resources are spent only on things that help you flourish. At times, saying no will feel uncomfortable. People may be disappointed or upset. You might feel guilty for turning down requests or opportunities. But you must remind yourself that every time you say no to something that doesn't serve your future, you are saying yes to your growth, to your goals, and to the life you truly want to live. You're investing in your future, and that investment is worth every moment of discomfort. Number 14, set painful deadlines and meet them without complaint. Life is about setting goals, but more importantly, it's about achieving them. Goals without deadlines are simply wishes. They linger in the air, ungrounded, drifting with no sense of urgency or accountability. A deadline isn't just a marker in time, it's a commitment, a challenge to yourself that you will not back away from. It creates a sense of pressure that forces you to act, to focus, and to prioritize. But not all deadlines are created equal. The truly transformative deadlines are the ones that are painful, the ones that stretch you beyond your comfort zone, the ones that force you to dig deep and push past your limits. These painful deadlines are not meant to punish you. They're meant to sharpen you. When you set a deadline that makes you uncomfortable, when you set one that challenges you to work harder, work smarter, and give more than you thought possible, you create a sense of urgency that becomes the fuel for your success. Without that urgency, it's easy to get lazy, to procrastinate, and to make excuses. But a painful deadline doesn't give you that luxury. It demands your attention, your effort, and your full commitment. And that's exactly what you need if you want to accomplish something significant in your life. Setting these deadlines isn't easy. It's uncomfortable to put pressure on yourself, especially when you know you're going to have to work harder than you ever have before. But comfort does not lead to progress. You cannot expect to live a life of greatness if you constantly choose the path of least resistance. You have to be willing to do the hard work, to endure the discomfort, and to meet those deadlines, no matter how painful they may seem at first. If you want results, you have to be willing to push through the resistance that comes with big, audacious goals. When you set a painful deadline, you are giving yourself a clear target. There's no ambiguity about when the work needs to be done. You are telling yourself, this is the moment I'm going to deliver. I'm going to rise to the occasion, and nothing will stop me from hitting this mark. And when you achieve that goal within the time frame you set, it builds your confidence. It shows you that you are capable of more than you thought possible. It shows you that you can push through discomfort. You can push through fear, and you can get things done, even when the pressure is on. But here's the catch. You cannot afford to make excuses. When the deadline approaches, the temptation to ease up, to slow down, or to delay becomes stronger. You will want to tell yourself that you've worked hard enough, that it's okay to take a break, or that you can finish later. That's when you have to remember that the deadlines you set are non-negotiable. You do not get to complain. You do not get to make excuses. You do not get to back down. You made the commitment, and now it's time to follow through. This is where discipline becomes your best ally. It's important to recognize that not all deadlines are created equal. Some deadlines you set for yourself will feel less intense than others. But it's the painful deadlines, the ones that push you, that challenge you, and that force you to confront your weaknesses, that will lead to the most growth. These are the deadlines that will change you. These are the deadlines that will separate you from the people who only dream and never act. When you embrace these painful deadlines, you're embracing growth. You're pushing yourself toward a future that is greater than the one you could ever imagine if you played it safe. You'll face obstacles along the way. There will be moments when you want to quit, when you feel like it's too hard, when the road seems too long. But those are the moments that matter most. When you push through those obstacles, when you refuse to give in, you build resilience. You develop the mental toughness that is required to succeed in anything you set out to do. No one gets to greatness without struggling. The path is always difficult and the pressure is always there. But it's in those moments of pressure that you discover what you're truly made of. When you set a painful deadline, you are forcing yourself to be accountable. No more procrastination. No more putting things off. You've decided to take action now, and you've given yourself a time frame to get it done. This commitment is the first step toward success. The next step is to meet that deadline without complaint. When you meet your deadline, you gain a sense of accomplishment that fuels your motivation to keep going. It becomes a cycle. You set a painful deadline, you meet it, and you feel the rush of achievement. You then set another painful deadline, and you keep pushing forward. Each completed deadline adds momentum to your journey. But let's be clear. It's not about the results you get. It's about who you become in the process. Painful deadlines are not just about achieving the goal. They're about developing the mindset, the habits, and the discipline that will make you successful in all areas of life. They're about becoming a person who does not give up, who does not make excuses, and who is relentless in the pursuit of their goals. The person you become in the face of discomfort, pressure, and deadlines is the person who will go on to achieve even greater things. So set those deadlines. Make them painful. Make them uncomfortable. And then meet them without complaint. It will be difficult at times, but it will be worth it. The growth, the progress, and the success that come from meeting those deadlines will far outweigh the temporary discomfort you experience along the way. Keep pushing, keep moving forward, and let the deadlines you set be the driving force that propels you toward your future. You have what it takes to meet these challenges, to rise above them, and to build the life you want. Now is the time to prove it to yourself. Number 15, evaluate your progress every week without lying to yourself. Success doesn't happen overnight, and it certainly doesn't happen by accident. It requires consistent effort, direction, and most importantly, reflection. Without taking time to evaluate your progress, you risk continuing down the wrong path, making mistakes that could have been avoided, or simply stagnating without realizing it. This is why it's essential to assess where you stand every single week. But there's a catch. When you evaluate your progress, you need to do it honestly. This isn't about self-deception or sugarcoating reality. It's about facing the truth, no matter how uncomfortable that truth might be. The first step in this process is understanding that evaluating your progress isn't a one-time event. It's a routine that must become a regular part of your life. You must set aside time each week to reflect on what you've done, where you are, and where you still need to go. This time of reflection should be treated with seriousness and attention because it holds the key to your improvement. If you aren't looking back and evaluating your actions, you are simply moving in circles, expecting different results without making any meaningful changes. It's easy to lie to yourself. It's easy to tell yourself that you've done enough or that the effort you've put in is sufficient when deep down, you know it's not. The truth is, this is a trap that most people fall into. They convince themselves that they are progressing when in reality, they are stagnating. You have to be willing to cut through that self-deception. You must hold yourself accountable, no matter how painful it may feel. This means looking at the raw facts of your week, measuring them against the goals you've set, and admitting where you've fallen short. It's about confronting the reality of your efforts rather than clinging to the illusion of progress. Honest evaluation requires a clear view of where you started and where you are now. It's easy to feel like you're making progress when you're too close to the situation. You get lost in the day-to-day tasks, in the distractions, and the noise of life. But when you step back and look at the bigger picture, it becomes evident where you've been wasting time or where you've made poor choices. Be brutal with yourself. Don't excuse your mistakes. Don't offer up explanations. Just look at what you've done and compare it to what you should have been doing. This is where real growth begins. When evaluating your progress, it's important to be objective. Don't let your emotions cloud your judgment. It's easy to feel good about what you've done because you've put in time or effort. But you must ask yourself, was this the right kind of effort? Was it the most effective use of my time? Often, people fall into the trap of being busy but not productive. They convince themselves that their actions are aligned with their goals, when in reality, they've been distracted by things that aren't moving the needle forward. This is where honesty becomes critical. You must be able to admit that some of your actions, however well-intentioned, have not been effective. The process of evaluating your progress also forces you to take a hard look at your goals. Are your goals still relevant? Are they still pushing you in the right direction? Or have they become outdated? If your goals are no longer aligned with your desired outcomes, you may need to adjust them. But even when goals are still relevant, you have to evaluate if you're making the right kind of progress toward them. Sometimes, it's not the goal itself that needs to change, but your approach to reaching it. An honest evaluation means looking at your progress from every angle, including how well your methods are working. If you've been putting in consistent effort but still aren't seeing results, that's a clear sign that something in your strategy isn't working. It's time to reassess, refocus, and adjust. It's also important to evaluate not just your actions, but your mindset. Are you maintaining the right attitude? Are you staying positive, focused, and driven, even when things get tough? Often the difference between success and failure isn't about external circumstances. but about how you approach challenges mentally and emotionally. It's about resilience. This is where a true evaluation comes in. When you honestly assess not just your behaviors, but the thoughts that drive them. Are you letting negative thoughts, fears, or doubts creep in and prevent you from doing your best work? If so, it's time to confront these thoughts and replace them with more constructive, empowering beliefs. Another critical aspect of evaluating your progress is measuring your results. This means looking at the tangible outcomes of your efforts. What have you achieved so far? Are you closer to your goals than you were last week? You have to be able to track your success and failures. Without measurable results, it's impossible to know whether you're on the right track. If you're working toward a specific goal, such as growing a business, improving your health, or completing a project, you need to measure your progress against these outcomes. Every week, you should be able to see how far you've come and how far you still need to go. But measuring results also involves acknowledging setbacks. No one's journey is linear. There will be days, weeks, or even months where you don't make as much progress as you'd like. The key is how you respond to these setbacks. You can't ignore them or pretend they didn't happen. You have to face them head on, analyze what went wrong, and figure out how to get back on track. Sometimes this requires making difficult decisions, such as cutting back on distractions or even changing your goals altogether. But as long as you are willing to be honest with yourself, you can always adjust and continue forward. Finally, be kind to yourself in the process. Honesty doesn't mean being harsh or overly critical. It means being constructive. You're evaluating your progress because you want to improve. And the purpose of evaluating isn't to punish yourself for mistakes, but to learn from them. Recognize where you've succeeded, celebrate those wins, and use them as motivation to keep going. Don't ignore your achievements just because they aren't perfect or because they don't align exactly with your original vision. Progress is still progress, no matter how small it might seem. By consistently evaluating your progress with honesty and reflection, you not only keep yourself on track, but build a mindset of growth, self-awareness, and continual improvement. Remember, the goal of this process is not to beat yourself up, but to become better, sharper, and more effective. Self-reflection, paired with brutal honesty, will make you more aware of where you are, where you've been, and where you still need to go. It will sharpen your focus, clarify your intentions, and help you make the adjustments necessary to keep moving forward. Number 16, eliminate one bad habit each month without delay. Habits shape who we are. They influence our productivity, our mindset, and even our overall quality of life. While some habits propel us forward and contribute to our success, others hold us back. These bad habits often act as invisible chains that restrict us from reaching our full potential. They are the small, seemingly harmless actions that build up over time, creating obstacles and self-imposed limitations. But the key to breaking free from these habits isn't just about identifying them, it's about eliminating them once and for all. The goal is simple: eliminate one bad habit every month without delay. When you commit to eliminating one bad habit a month, you create a clear and manageable framework for self-improvement. The beauty of this approach is that it breaks down the overwhelming task of self-improvement into smaller, achievable steps. Instead of trying to overhaul every aspect of your life at once, you focus on one specific change. You don't have to make radical shifts all at once, but rather take focused, deliberate action that compounds over time. The first step in this process is identifying which habits are holding you back. We all have them, those behaviors that undermine our progress, zap our energy, or prevent us from being our best selves. It could be procrastination, excessive screen time, overeating, negative self-talk, or any number of other habits that hinder our success. But identifying a bad habit is not always as straightforward as it might seem. Bad habits often sneak up on us, masked by justifications or rationalizations. We might tell ourselves, it's just one more episode, or I'll start working tomorrow. But in reality, we're building a pattern that will only get harder to break the longer we allow it to persist. That's why identifying these habits must be done with honesty and a willingness to face uncomfortable truths. Once you've pinpointed a bad habit, It's time to take immediate action. This is where many people fall short. They delay the process, make excuses, or convince themselves that they'll start tomorrow. But the truth is, every day you wait is a day you're allowing that bad habit to continue controlling you. Procrastination only prolongs the pain of change and deepens the grip the habit has on your life. To eliminate a bad habit successfully, you need to act immediately. It's about cutting it off at the root, not giving yourself the luxury of delay. The process of eliminating a bad habit begins with replacing it. Habits don't just vanish, they must be replaced with something positive and productive. If you're trying to eliminate procrastination, for example, you could replace it with focused work sessions where you set a timer and commit to working for a set period of time. If you want to stop snacking mindlessly, replace it with drinking water or a healthier alternative. Replacing a bad habit doesn't mean just stopping the behavior. It means replacing it with something better, something that serves you in a more positive way. This process of